program and producer for ScareLA, Rick West.
Well, hello. Hey. Well, hello. I'm guessing that there are a few haunted attraction fans in the house. Wonderful. Well, welcome to Making Monsters. Last year, we started a Making Monsters series, and we brought the makeup artists responsible for transforming people into the ghouls that roam Southern California's biggest theme park haunted attractions. And so we wanted to continue that this year, and we wanted to dive a little bit deeper. So today, we have four of our friends with us from some parks you guys may be familiar with here in Southern California, and we are going to talk about art direction and the whole concept development phase that goes into these attractions months, sometimes years, before anybody sees them, before any of these ideas come to fruition. So we're going to take a look at what these guys do, and then we're going to have a conversation, and then the best part, we're going to open it up to questions from you guys, the fans. How does that sound? All right. Now we're going to try to work this. All right, so we're going to start with Six Flags Fright Fest. Six Flags fans in the house? All right. So this is Mark Wayne.
Hello, everyone.
He is the art director. There you go. He's the art director at Knott. Should have had a drink backstage. Okay. I'll need a big one now. Okay. So at Fright Fest, Mark, you are the art director, not just for Fright Fest, but for
Holiday in the Park, July 4th Fest, Grad Night, special events, and also the theatrical shows.
So you're not busy? Great. So what are we looking at here on the first slide?
Well, you guys are looking at our new Gearworks Theater, actually. And the Gearworks Theater has been transformed. It used to be formerly known as Magic Moments. It's getting transformed into our new Unleashed show. It's actually a big, huge theatrical show, taking cirque performers, top 40 music and dancing styles, and just creating this immersive, frightening show experience. So that's actually Unleashed. You're looking at that lovely giant Jack-in-the-Box right there. That's actually 14 feet tall. He is a new addition to the new While the City Under Siege enhancement that we're doing this year, which we'll get into a little bit later with our new Sinister Circuit. And then you're looking also at the what we call our one-sheeters. And we do one-sheeters every year for every single attraction. And what it does, it shows all the concept designs, the layout. And actually, everything does start in January. I start planning Fright Fest in January of the next year. It takes us roughly 4 months to create the actual full concept of the event. And these little one-sheeters here and concept designs that you're seeing actually help us a lot and help the builders and designers that our amazing team that we have at Magic Mountain puts together. So. Ooh, new stuff, yay. This is all new stuff coming out of 2015's Fright Fest. Where you see the lovely little clown, that's Peaches the Clown. He'll be here later on today if you guys want to meet him, he's at our booth. But this is our DC Universe area and the City Under Siege. What we're doing, if you guys are familiar with what we did last year with Holiday in the Park, we created this immersive, pixelated light show, which was called Rockin' Universe. Well, what we're doing is we're taking the elements of that show and enhancing it and putting it into the actual event and the City Under Siege with what we call Sinister Circuit. And Sinister Circuit is something that will come on randomly throughout the night, where all of our ghouls and certain elements, theatrical elements, especially lighting, will come into play. And it's just an immersive experience that's actually going to help enhance all of our scare zones, and especially this one right here. The big spider right next to it is actually a portal. It's for our new Scream Punk area, and it's the this guy is a giant arachnid, roughly 20 feet tall, approximately 40 feet wide. It's for our Territory Twisted area. And with this lovely entrance portal, we have a lot of other themed elements inside that have built-in effects, audio, all types of cool stuff to enhance the scare zone. Even if a character is not present in the scare zone, you actually will have elements in the scare zone that will react and cause those scares. So
Well, thank you very much. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have JJ from Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. All right. So what are we looking at here?
This is one of our concept renderings from 2014. We introduced the monster Midway last year at Dark Harbor. And this is looking at just down the Midway itself. We put these concept renderings together to help kind of land the creative direction of the space and to help communicate that with our producers and with our partners so they can all see what we have in mind for an area. And Monster Midway was developed out of our Ringmaster that we brought in 2013.
Anybody fans of the Ringmaster?
So her circus and her Midway and her freak show have exploded, and they exist all around Dark Harbor to celebrate the spirits of the Queen Mary.
Nice. Right. Let's see what we have here. Okay, what are we looking at?
This is some of our original character concept art. This is a sketch of the Ringmaster. This is the final concept that we put together for her. She went through many concepts, and this is kind of what we landed on for her. And this is Scary Mary. She's our feature monster this year. And this is the original sketch we developed in 2013 to develop her, and we've been kind of tweaking her and developing her ever since.
Who's ready for some Scary Mary this Halloween? All right, what do we got here?
This is some more of the concept art that we have. This is for our Voodoo Village that was revealed last year, and this is the swamp. And it's a new area. Voodoo Village takes you through the Voodoo Priestess's lairs, I guess, and it's a very southern New Orleans, Louisiana vibe. And at the very end, the mazes book ended with the swamp that you leave as you go through the trees and the fog. And then the other image is of Soulmate, which is our maze that tells the tale of Graceful Gale, which is one of my favorite monsters at Dark Harbor. She's our lady in white, and she haunts the royal slum.
That's one of my favorite characters also. Graceful Gale fans in the house? Yes. Beautiful, good character design. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much. All right, I'm guessing that some of you guys are fans of Not Scary Farm, yeah? Then you know Laura Hanneman, right? All right, there you go. What are we staring at?
We're staring at Daniel Miller's concept rendering for Tooth Fairy. And this year it's going to be a little bit more scary this year, but these are the kind of sketches that actually let us know what's in his head, because, you know, my creative team it's really hard to get it out of them until we see it on paper.
Yeah, perfect. All right, we got a whole bunch of stuff here. What are we looking at here?
And again, we have a giant team that makes this happen. So, you know, upper right, let's say, is the Slaughterhouse paint elevation that helps our scenic artist and Maria Pasta paint everything that we have. And on the lower left is Delirium. That's the facade rendering, and the Special Ops Infected. So it's set from that.
Nice, perfect. Great. You guys remember Slaughterhouse, right? That was one of the longest running mazes in Knott's history, right? It was like 5 or 6 years. Come on, fans, help me out. Yes? Yes? I said one up, damn it. Perfect. And that one was awesome too. All right, perfect. And now we have one more slideshow to show you. They're going to control it from the back for me. We're going to take a look and see what our friend Mr. Chris Williams brought from Universal Studios. Chris, what do you do? What do you do over there at Universal? For the one person in the back that has no idea.
My title is art director, but I'm like production designer, art director. So pretty much anything that, well, it really encompasses a lot. Anything that you see visually, I am pretty much in charge of designing it, helping conceptualize. I work with another conceptual partner. You guys know John Murdy, handles the Twitter, but and him and I work well together. So essentially, gonna see.
Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, a few photos in respect to.
I'll pretend. There we go.
So La Llorona, you know, with the myth of her and everything, I honestly don't even recall how the origin or how we came about looking at doing her, but you know, to me, my big thing, and when I was a kid, is wanting to make monsters, actually. So within this, I was really wanting to show, you know, what to me is just a big thing, what I really like. I like to try to take creativity and let it flow, and what we do and how we formulate mazes and flows and such, but, you know, I'm a big guy on monsters and how to integrate them within characters. So this performer, her legs would go inside much like a sleeping bag and rock back and forth as the La Llorona has come through the window as eating her.
Fantastic. Good thing that we're calling this Making Monsters. It's a good idea. One of my favorite mazes ever. You guys think so? Yeah? All right, let's take a look at the next slide.
Yeah, I wanted to throw something 3D. We always try to do some kind of 3D maze, and this is in Black Sabbath 13, so one of these is an actual performer. You know, that's a big thing to me, is actually to try to, if we're going to do a camouflage gag, to hide them as best as we can, and to drive that 3D, which is, this is under UV reactive light and paint.
Perfect. All right.
American Werewolf of London.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of our 7 wolves. We had 4 half wolves and 3 full wolves. So this is in the alley sequence up on a couple crates. Wanted to get him up high and face level with you as you come through. And these were all positioned in such a way to try to startle scare you as you came through the curtains. So you could probably figure that out as you were going through. And this was done by Patrick McGee, and so was La Llorona, who's a really great effects artist and really has a tight concern for the aesthetic. And I do as well. I'm trying to step things forward every year. So, you know, as you see what we work with him, we're trying to bring it to a really high level.
I'm sure that I speak for some fans in the room here. American Werewolf was, in my opinion, the best maze I've ever seen at Halloween Horror Nights. It's really, really good. You guys get John Landis proud. It's great. It's great. And I think now we have is it a video? Is that
There's one more maybe, and then
oh, another one. There you go.
And this is encompassing, this is kind of what we call Facehugger Family, encompassing all of my trades, which, you know, obviously the design, but also props, effects, and effects meaning like Pat McGee with the eggs and such, and also the face huggers and scenery and spray foam. And you can see, even, you know, we're trying to send a tight little teeny message of 2 eggs open with the face huggers, and 1 is closed, and there is an open gap in the middle for you to have a seat.
Well, a family that hugs together.
So, Queen, you know, I always wanted to try to get to this kind of a level. I've been doing this for a very long time. Yeah, at Universal for 17 years. Not there. So, and we can.
She was badass, right? Yeah. Yes, she was badass, right? There we go.
So the next,
let's go to the next.
Is just a little walkthrough video that I had taken of her, and this encompasses all trades too. You know, you can see construction, scenic, dressing, you can see all the set dressing right there to help with the flow, and an alien performer pop out because you're watching her so much. She's such a big, huge, shiny distraction. Over 16 feet tall. I couldn't even put a ceiling on the thing. Once we got her in, her tips went over
her tips.
Yeah, and the tips on the top of her crown. So this was actually out of the original molds through ADI, and it's puppeted by 3 puppeteers behind on a platform, and it's all rod puppeted. And what a great way to end a maze, huh?
Yeah, that was fantastic. Absolutely. here at ScareLA, we get all types of guests, and a lot of the people that come to ScareLA are aspiring artists and makeup artists, monster makers, whatever. How did you guys get into this crazy, weird niche business?
Well, to be honest with you, I got into the industry because of Chris. I got inspired as a teenager looking at all the different attractions that he's created and designed, and I got the opportunity 5 years ago at Magic to design Aftermath. If you guys are familiar with the park over there, we have a big outdoor attraction called Aftermath, and that was my very first maze. I got the opportunity, so thank you to Six Flags Parks and Scott Sterner if you're in the audience, because he gave me the opportunity to be able to do my first attraction, and from there, I've designed pretty much everything else since then.
That's great. JJ?
I'm actually a young gal from Kansas, and I went to theater school in Kansas. I had a passion and love for entertainment and art and live performances. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I moved here twice. The second time I was really interested in live theater, interactive theater in a different way, and I really think that haunts are an incredible way to experience live theater at its best. You interact with the monsters, you get chased by the performers, you get to walk through the sets and experience the environment in a four-dimensional way that you can't get in other performance spaces. So that's sort of how I fell into haunts and I fell in love with haunts and why I stay in it. And it's exciting at the Queen Mary because we get to create stories and monsters and characters completely original from the actual guest experiences have on the ship with these scary ghosts. So we get to create things out of the woodworks of the Queen Mary that are just so exciting. We never get tired of it because every year we explore something new.
Fantastic. And Laura?
Well, I started as a theatrical production designer and my major in college as well, and a minor in art and psychology, which that last part is really important.
It helps her deal with the other designers.
And started at Knott in '94 and loved it ever since. I mean, it's just been, like JJ says, it's that encompassing feeling. I mean, and I love to make people scream. You know, it's just, I can't describe it.
Because you're sick. Okay. Chris, how did you get involved with Universal and all this stuff?
I was a pretty nutty little kid, really into costumes, really into makeup and monsters. I had a Dick Smith monster makeup kit when I was like 8 years old and just was totally into it. Where did it all come from? I don't know. You guys are much the same. I know it. You know, you guys are sitting here listening, you know? So it's really cool to have a really cool connection in respect to that. But I honestly, through college, I was doing like fine art. Okay, I didn't take a theatrical approach, but my senior show in school was an installation where I actually created a big boxing ring, and I had Christ, Jesus Christ.
There's no other Christ.
Satan the devil. In a boxing ring fighting, and the setting was actually in hell, and it was a big installation, and it was a really themed environment. It was. That spurred me to actually get a gig in the industry, actually through Tom Clough, who's a big designer. He's doing some stuff actually through Disney and such. So that helped spur that on, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to actually, through fine art, starving artists, to be able to make a career out of this, so far.
There you go. So how far out do you guys start your concepting and development as far as the art direction goes? Is it months? Is it years sometimes? Have a free-for-all. Whoever wants to jump in.
We usually start like as soon as our thing opens, our event opens. I mean, whether it's Halloween or anything we do, like summer or spring events, and continue working on that till the very moment we open. And sometimes a lot of things don't mesh together for the first year or that year that we have it. So there's a lot of shelved ideas that I constantly bring up and I go, oh, this will be perfect for this year. So.
Yeah, we're kind of the same boat where we take ideas and it's not right for this year, we'll maybe use it in the future. We usually start after we open in January, February for the year that's coming up. But right after we open, we start planning for 2016, but then we dive in once the new year starts. And then, so this year is unique for us because we've started developing 2016 along with 2015. So we're kind of setting up a 2-year plan for Dark Harbor, which is exciting.
Wow. It's like Mockingbird.
Part 2.
That's right, part 2. How about you guys?
When we open the event, you know, we actually look at bringing in filmmakers and producers and other individuals to check it out, and what that does is really help establish what we do and the level of what we do. And then that is so much easier, you know, whenever we circle back around and go, hey, what about an attraction like what you kind of saw, but in this idea? So that's just kind of how we roll. We try to take that. It's not a year-round thing, but at least conceptually, I'm always looking and thinking, and, you know, I'm videoing commercials, and my family thinks I'm nuts and doing stuff like that, but I'm always trying to keep the door open to any kind of concept or intent that's out there, you know.
Same thing, we usually start right after Fright Fest closes, and I'm opening up Holiday in the Park. We start designing for the next year, and just like JJ, we do try to plan at least a couple years in advance, and exactly like everyone else is, if something doesn't work out, we definitely we'll keep it in the books, and then we'll reevaluate it at another time when we feel that it's the perfect time to actually present it to the guests.
So one of the biggest differing factors in this group is that the 3 of you guys are really kind of free spirit as far as what you design and what you concept. Queen Mary's done a fantastic job of creating its own IPs for Dark Harbor that don't let them go anywhere because they're freaking awesome. Knott's has always been pretty much your wheelhouse is, again, blank slate. You guys can do whatever you do, and I think you guys do it really well, fantastically. Chris, on the other hand, you guys have to deal usually with film studios and IPs and that type of thing. How does that affect your art direction? Do you have to collaborate closely with the IP holder? How does that complicate your task?
Yeah, we try to, you know, initially in a meeting, you know, that we set up with an IP holder, and what usually happens in that is we'll have a ground plan, and we might have a PowerPoint, and we have formulated a concept, basically. And we pitch that, go through that as John and I, and then hopefully, thumbs up. And then I just go nuts with all the elevations and the show set packages and all that stuff, and just blast through that, and keeping them informed. But then the big thing is, like, if we're sculpting anything, and Larry Bones knows this as well, because we do a lot of work with bony artifacts as well. With most of mass makeup prosthetics, there's an approval process to all this as well. And that sometimes is very difficult when we're submitting sculptures or designs and such to get them also thumbs up, because there's such a huge process to everything that we're doing, and trying to keep them in the loop. But really, once we're pretty much the maze is fabricated and it's down to a point of minimal dressing, that's when we ring the bell of, come on out, check it out.
So yeah, as Chris is talking about this, I'm thinking, JJ, you guys actually do kind of have confines because you're kind of married to this ship. I think some people have heard of the Queen Mary, right? So it's you kind of have to create your entire culture around the spirits of the ship. So how does that work for you, and how does that does that confine you at all? Are you happy and comfortable with that, since you do have space outside of the ship to do things?
Yeah, we're kind of exploring this in 2 formats. Yes, we explore the Queen Mary, and the Queen Mary docked there in 1968, opened to the public in 72. So for years, they've been collecting people's encounters with spirits. So we had this resource to go to. 2011, I believe, is Dark Harbor opened with a different story, and in 2011, 2012, excuse me, we unveiled the Queen Mary, and we got to those characters because of all the records that the Queen Mary had kept in their attractions department. So we were able to go through these stories and hear these horrific tales people have had with encounters of ghosts and develop those IPs from those stories. The way that we find that we're not getting, like, with those 5 characters, that they have a life beyond 1 year, or 2 years, or 3 years, they can be the Mickey Mouses of the Queen Mary, is they can have friends that come and play with them every Halloween, which is what the remaster and the circus does. This year, we're going to be foreshadowing a new spirit that's going to come and haunt the Queen Mary, and that will build off of that. So every year, friends can come and go with the ghosts of the Queen Mary, and in celebration, and in fighting for the spirits of the Queen Mary, and that keeps the stories fresh every year, that we're able to bring back, and keep new things coming, and still celebrate the true spirits.
Laura, I'm thinking about all the years that Haunt's been around, and you know, just until recently, pretty much you could go anywhere throughout the park property and you would stumble upon mazes, whether it was in the Haunted Shack, remember the mazes in the Haunted Shack? Or on Stagecoach Lawn, whatever. Now they've all pretty much been moved backstage to the Butler buildings and all that back there. Does that help you guys? Does that hinder you creatively, not to be able to have that landscape to play with?
I don't think so. We still have an all-encompassing event, so it's, you know, the atmosphere is around. We draw from. I mean, we'll never get rid of Ghost Town. You know, I mean, that's our beginning, our heart, and then you know, through Carnival, and they're spread out. I'm trying to get them a little bit more spread out again, but at the same time, you know, it allows us for a little bit more freedom, even because we want to try to take our surroundings and make it something scary, and it's easier to do. Like, for example, in Ghost Town, you know, we do things that fit that theme. So, but backstage we have a little bit more freedom. So we never know what, you know, lies within the designer's head. So
perfect. And Mark, the layout of Magic Mountain is a workout walking around Magic Mountain, and you guys spread it out mostly throughout the park. Now there's a corner of the park back by the wooden coaster in the back, Apocalypse. I almost said T2. Back by Apocalypse, where you guys don't do the haunt back there. In the future, maybe will it creep back there? Because it's literally everywhere else in the park, and it's a big, big park.
There's always opportunity to grow. We've tested stuff back there, and some stuff has been successful, some stuff hasn't really been successful. But it's a great area, and we're always trying to think of new themes and stuff to put back there and test. But we like to focus in our core areas, obviously, and like, for instance, DC Universe, or formerly known as Gotham, where our infamous clowns are located. We want to definitely put an impact in areas like that, because obviously those are where the guests go. They'll park there all night long and just enjoy themselves watching people get scared. So it's always an opportunity to definitely try it. There's always something, we're always trying to do something there, but definitely at this time we're looking at our main core areas.
So I'm going to throw something out that anybody can jump in and answer. Has there been a concept that you've developed that has just hit a roadblock, that for whatever reason you haven't been able to do it, and it's just something that's always the bee in your bonnet? And what is that, and what keeps it from seeing the light of day? This is a tough one to ask designers.
I'll answer. For us, our Aftermath attraction, the original concept, we're taking an action theater, formerly known as the Batman Action Theater, and transforming into what we call an open air attraction, where there's all different types of flipped over cars, and Porsches, Mad Max style vehicles, stuff like that. We originally wanted to have stunt people as part of the whole event, and it's just always a challenge when you bring in stunts and all different types of stunts, life for life, falls, all that stuff. So it's something that we keep trying to push, but it eventually, unfortunately, we just don't go that route every year.
Well, we've always wanted to do a hull of a big ship.
That's a hell of an idea. Anybody else? We're going to hear all of your horror stories. It's awesome.
Being a haunted attraction in Southern California, we've always wanted to do some very intensive overnight stays, which is something that is always in the back of our mind, and we are brainstorming and calculating ways to make that work, but that's kind of something in the vault.
Who wants to stay on the Queen Mary? Chris, how about you?
It's The Exorcist, actually. I think 5 or 6 years ago, you know, maybe not so much of entertaining that thought, but I am a very spiritual person, and the more I thought about it, I would love to make it so scary on a Saturday night you might find yourself sitting in church on Sunday morning.
Well, fingers crossed for Exorcist, right, kids? Right. I'm guessing some of you fans want to talk to some of these great folks, yes? Questions? All right, can we have the house lights a little bit so we can see we're like blinded by these? We're blinded by the light. And we're going to get some questions and get some good discussion that way with these guys. This is a really rare and great opportunity. Thank you guys again also for coming out and playing with us. That's really cool. I see a hand right here. Did I catch you guys unready with microphones? Here comes one. It's a long walk. Here we go. Perfect.
All right, thank you very much for talking with all of us. You talk so much, all of you, about different characters that you're designing. And one of my joys going to haunts is seeing the characters and the actors who portray them. How do actors interact with their characters? Do you feel they can sort of help bring about new characters? And just what's your take on the give and take of creation of character and performance of character?
Well, for us over at Magic Mountain, it really is about the talent, and also a big element is Scott Ramp and the Scream team and the amazing makeup artists that we get every year from him and Cinema Makeup School.
Love for Scott. Give it up for Scott Ramp.
Actually, there's some characters that I want to hold off on actually during the audition process, because something that a talent can bring, it can be something unique that we can create a character around, and it's something that we do really well at Magic is we actually have a program where the team members can actually pitch their character, and they become part of the design process as well on some of them. And some of our characters that you'll see out by our booth, especially our little rat character, Scringe, today, she developed that character, and we worked with her, myself and Scott Ramp, to create this awesome character that is super popular, and people keep looking for her every single year, especially our DC characters. Some of them are a lot of returning cast members. Some have been with us for about 15 years now. So it's a lot of pride in the different type of character they create, and a pride that we definitely want to make sure that people are well aware of. So.
I'd like to touch on this too. Yeah. We have an incredible talent director, David Wally, that casts our monsters at the Queen Mary Star Harbor. And, and our talent and our actors play such a huge part in the scares as they do at all haunts. But in our audition process, we'll have our list of characters that we want to fill, and we've developed them. And then David and his team and the actors themselves help push that over the edge. And then we have different levels. So maze monsters, that's our process. Then we'll have some ideas for some special programming. And Jimmy Holgain, I think, is in here, but we knew he's a magician. He was a monster. We wanted a magic show. Let's make something magical. And he developed Mud, which has taken off and is a huge part of Dark Harbor. Peggy, who plays our ringmaster, there's no way that character would have the feat that she has without her. And so the casting process and what these actors do to these characters in our main cast, they just take them and fly with them. And we give them that freedom, and we hold their wings as they fly, but
or we pull them off because you're sick,
yeah,
right?
Exactly, just drop them, you're flying too high. But we really rely heavily on that talent and the development of that, and it all comes together as a huge team.
Laura, over the years in ghost town is what comes to mind, right? So Knott's, obviously when you have different themes for mazes, you kind of have your set character palette, right? in Ghost Town over the year, we've seen lots of really iconic characters at Knott's, including Charlene, who's the Green Witch for 28 years, 29 years now. It's a long, yeah, amazing. 32, yeah, amazing. How does Knott's go about letting people kind of create their characters in the scare zones versus in the mazes? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, the mazes, we want the whole maze to come alive with these monsters, and as well as the streets. So we do allow freedom even in the mazes for how they're going to scare and what they can add, like just personality to it. And on the streets it's a little different because we do audition, and at that time I love collaboration, and anybody that has an idea, it's like, how can we make this even better than, you know, what you're thinking of, you know? So with the help of, like she said, makeup and costuming, we'll take that idea and then they bring it to life. And so it's really fun to see, like our new Green Witch that is our icon as well.
Absolutely. And now, Chris, with you guys dealing with the IPs, obviously if you need, you know, somebody that's from a movie that people recognize as a certain character, they can't really stray that far from that. But you guys go the extra step to really look for people that look like certain characters and act like and sound like certain characters.
Yeah, we do. We have, at our casting is an individual named Scott Kleckner, and he puts so much thought, time, and energy into just honestly casting a general walker. So in respect to, you know, face characters, you know, that we have looked for in the past, he does a really great job with that, you know, so that we're not trying to make them up, you know. But, you know, we've kind of looked into it, and, you know, I know John has done the math in respect to this, that our performers are doing an action or a scare like 40,000 times throughout the event, something like that, give or take a few thousand or whatever. But in that respect, you know, we're more stringently controlled of what we want you to do and to perform, you know, in respect to what we're kind of thinking of is, hey, this is what we want to show, this certain snippet from this movie or something, or television show or whatever. So, you know, what we are, you know, controlled in what we want, you know, our performers to do, and less in respect to, you know, improv. Mm-hmm.
Another question? Question about the design process? Person right over here. I see the silhouette of fingers.
Hello. I was just wondering, I know obviously y'all are super busy in October, but have you ever seen each other's work and just kind of thoughts on each other's work?
Not busy at all in October.
No, I'm done in October. I've had the pleasure of seeing Dark Harbor and Universal, but I haven't been to Fright Fest in a very long time. I'm sorry. But I do have a great respect for my colleagues here and what they come up with, and it's, you know, just different place, different time. I mean, Chris and I used to work together many months ago, and, you know, it's just, I love people in the industry and I respect what they do.
You know, we get it open and then we go. We go see these. We go see it. We check it out. It's a lot of fun, and it's our time to like go and get scared ourselves.
Yeah, I always try to do at least 2 events each year, but that's the goal. I'm so desensitized that I want to get scared, so I go to the other events and I just get inspired by a lot of the stuff that the other parks definitely create. So thank you guys.
Chris, do you get out?
I try. You know, I'll be honest with you, I give it my all. And I'm so exhausted during the event. And it's really difficult, you know, because I'm there on the nights of the event. You know, it's very important for me to keep up the quality. And a big part of that is just like what we talked about, is the characters. You know, I can build some really cool shiny sets, but it's the characters that are bringing it to life. You know? So I'm there, I try to get out, but I honestly don't get out that much. And I try to get to Knott's if I do try to get a chance to get out, but honestly I do need to get out some more.
You guys said something that was really interesting. As designers, when you go to haunted attractions or events, do you get scared?
It's really hard, I'll be honest. But for me, I got startled actually a year or two ago from a Universal. It was, I believe it was the Insidious maze when it first came out down in by Jurassic Park. And some of the effects in there, like the hides, I was like, how was that possible? How did they hide that person there? But yeah, very good maze.
I'm going to quote my business partner, Ryan Lewis, on this one. He once said, "It's hard to scare a haunt master." But it is true, we go to these and we are so into the sets and to the effects, and he's our special effects and props master, so he's even more behind the scenes. Master, art director and designer of those things. And so when we go, we're constantly looking at mechanisms and trying to figure out how they do it, how many puppets are operating the alien, and then we talk about it afterwards. So most often we're still working, and every once in a while we're like, forget it, we're just going to go in and close our minds to that.
Do you get scared, Laura?
Very rarely.
Rarely?
I really appreciate those who get me, and I don't see, but again, I'm always looking at everything, and it's a little more obvious to me where people should be, So.
Yeah, totally. Chris, you get jumpy going through mazes?
That's kind of rarely. Much like Laura, I'm looking around and seeing what's going on, and if there's a distraction or what's going on in the quality of the set, I'm kind of taking it in from a different approach kind of a thing. But there are times at my work, where performers maybe are not located where they should be. So yeah, there's a couple times where I do get a bang, startle scare right in my face, and they're trying to do it to me.
Another question. Way in the back here. Here comes the microphone.
Hello. So what is the next step beyond startle scares? And this is kind of a question to everybody. And is there a point where you have to go between what's a startle scare and what's going to be unnerving? And do you ever want to go into the point where somebody comes out of a haunt unnerved?
I want to touch people.
You get in trouble for that, Chris.
No, I can't, but I want to so bad. But there's a big, huge floor of lawyers at Universal that would really frown upon that, actually, honestly. But, I might not go to maybe a lot of other haunts around in SoCal, but my family can say yes, because I watch tons of TV. So anything like, hey, any little haunted house kind of stuff that they show, I'm recording it and watching it. And there are some stuff out there that they do a little touchy stuff, and I'm like really enthralled about it. But I honestly don't think I'm ever going to get there.
We try to gross people out. We try to unnerve them, like in traps that we've had for 3 years.
I drank urine last year at
exactly.
Traps.
So yeah, there's ways, but again, it's harder to do that in the mass quantities that we have running through our mazes. So and to be safe about it, because we are about having safe scares, and but we get to explore that a little bit, but I don't think to the extreme that some of these houses have done and are doing well.
I think it's easier when you're a smaller standalone haunt to be able to pull some of that type of shock value off, or kind of that really cutting edge type of scaring off. Whereas the theme parks, they have to really watch it, because God knows they've got deep pockets and everybody's looking to get their hands in them. So they got to be very careful when they're designing these things to kind of push the limits, but not to the point where they're going to get legally in trouble. Another question? Right here in front. Here comes the microphone.
At all of your haunts, there's a wonderful variety of monsters, madmen, and creatures lurking in every maze, and every maze has a separate story. You're entering a different world in each scare zone. But when designing your haunts, do do you have like an icon or a theme you want to encompass everything into a neat package in your haunt and make it unique?
I'll take a stab at that. We have a variety of things we work at. The thing that pulls us together is the Queen Mary, so that's our big tight package in the end on the macro level. On the micro level, we rely heavily on the characters, and what we're doing now, and this is going to take several years, every year we unveil a new maze that's based on one of the Queen Mary spirits. So separately and as individuals, these characters are different as night and day, but when you package them all together, they're the Queen Mary spirits, so that's kind of what brings all of those together. And then the other mazes that are not necessarily based on the Queen Mary spirits, Tricky Circus and Voodoo Village, they still have a character tied to them. So it's a character that we kind of explore what story that character wants to tell and develop that maze based on that story.
Laura, you guys have kind of done that in the past few years with the Green Witch and the Tricksters, right?
Exactly, and that's her territory, and she has to remind us that she's the one that did it all in the beginning, so, and fights with us designers, but you know, hey, she's raises her spirits every year, and then basically it all belongs to her.
Another question. We're running out of time, so if there's something rattling in your brains, now's the time. We have one right here in the middle. There we go.
Well, first I just want to say thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it. And it's really nice to get a chance to talk to all of you. But I was just wondering, I know you have a lot of huge sets that you build, the alien and everything like that. How does that encompass in what you plan to do for the year? I know that everything has to be approved, budget-wise, you know, all that kind of thing. So does that take effect? How does that work for, like, do you have to put things off? You know, how does all that work?
Well,
She said alien, so we're all looking at you.
okay. That's cool. I mean, you walk through it, if you have saw it, it was pretty expensive. You can tell that by just kind of the fact of what it is. You know, it's really trying to be able to balance all that out, like in you know, something that we haven't talked about in periods of money, you know, and you know, there's a big floor full of people called finance that we have to deal with and answer to. And so in that respect, you might have seen these aliens on Earth, because when the first concept came up about doing this, I just almost was pounding my fist on the table of aliens on Earth. They're going to be on Earth. I am not going to even entertain to try to create some kind of space station. We'll never get there. We will fail. And we got to bring them on Earth and do environments that people see and understand and know, and environments that we can afford. And that's really kind of how that kind of all shook out.
Yeah, we have a much lower budget than Universal, but I always say...
Let's justify it. There's a lot of different Cedar Fair parks to spread that around.
Yeah, exactly. And but I think that's always forced us to be more creative and how we go about it. I mean, props to my entire team for, you know, we always say the dumpster diving word, but I mean, you know, we do invest some money into it, but it's like, oh, I got that, I can make this paint can into this, you know, the body of this, and suddenly we have this huge paint can monster or something, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's fun, and, you know, you never know what you can find. If you can buy everything, then it's like, then it's not yours, you know what I mean? Which, there's a lot of great props out there, but if everything is bought, it just looks like a store.
Yeah. We have, if it's a really quick question, we can do it really quick and then we got a wrap. We could talk all afternoon, but there's more things coming up for you guys, so.
Hi, thanks for being here. I have a question. Have any of you ever gone out as a character? And which character would you be and why? If you have time.
I always make it a point to, every year, myself and a couple of my production team members, we get made up and we go out and surprise the cast. It's something that we want to make sure that we also can, we want to show the cast that we can do what exactly they're doing. We want to put ourselves in their shoes and go out there with them. And definitely I've been a Mad Hatter, I've been a clown, I've been a goblin, all types of different characters. So I definitely, every year we make it a point to go out there, surprise the cast, and be a part of them, and be with them.
JJ, do you dress up?
I do love to dress up. I have such mad respect for the actors. It's an incredible talent that they all bring to the haunts. I have not gotten into character at the Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. Maybe that'll change this year. Maybe you'll see me out there.
I too have respect for what all the talent do. I'd rather be the queen of backstage, but if I did go out, I'd probably be the witch.
In 1985, when I was in college, I was a character at Not Scary Farm. I was in Fairy Tales. Fairy Tales before they harnessed you off, and I was all over the track and the cars and everything. I'll be honest with you, it was a hoot. Under a mask, turtleneck, and a big coat, so I have a very good understanding of what our characters go through and how hot it is and how excruciating it is into repetitive motion and such. You know, I totally get it. But do I do it now? No. My creative partner does it, and you read about that stuff online, but no, I don't do it. I'm good. I sweat enough in the mazes walking around in their black tents and in the summertime and they're 115 just trying to approve paint.
Well, on behalf of everybody here, thank you guys so much. We know that you've got to get out of here because you're making monsters right now. So Chris Williams, Laura Hammond, JJ Waco, Mark Wayne, we have been making monsters, kids. Thank you very much.